Hey everybody, it's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at the Brooklyn Bazaar, and today we are here with Ian and Joel of Rings of Saturn. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's your third time in New York in like 4 months. You sick of us yet?
Not yet, just the traffic, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's. I was honored to help you guys with the parking job.
Oh, yeah.
outside.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man, for sure.
Any help. Any help helps.
Yeah, people are wild here.
Yeah, you got the golden spot too. I did the same thing for the Obsessed.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, but your latest record is Alta Ula, which came out in 2017. Do you have kind of like a conclusion on this record cycle?
Well, we're finishing up our new album that'll be coming out, was it sometime next year-ish?
Yeah, 2019 release for sure.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, we just been grinding on the Alta Ula shows and playing the material, and cranking it out and everything. The sales for the last album were amazing. We're trying to kind of up the bar with this new one a little bit.
Yeah.
We got Joel back on board to kind of bring that weird aspect of writing back and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited on the new material and everything, and I'm also equally as happy with Alta Ula.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Can people who like may have discovered you guys on Alta Ula, because I feel like this record got a lot of mileage for you guys, can people who may have discovered you on this record kind of be expecting like a direct follow-up to Alta Ula, or do you kind of want to like maybe do something a little bit different?
I feel like with this new release, we really touched upon what got Rings' music like attention, was like the crazy aspect of it, but we also brought it down a bit, and with the structure and everything to make the songs, you know, like easier to follow.
Yeah, kind of flow
better,
more,
but still keep that interesting weird vibe.
like
with
sporadic, just wild shit as well. Yeah, it's a good mesh, I think, between pretty much anything that you can hear of Rings of Saturn.
it. Yeah, you can expect new things you're familiar with. It's definitely
Yeah.
a Rings record. So
Awesome. Well, what I've noticed is with the whole deathcore style that you guys are kind of associated with, your music is very experimental. Like,
Yeah.
I don't just compare you to like a Whitechapel or a Suicide Silence.
Right,
like,
right.
is it fair to say that when making new music, it's a little bit easier to try new things because your music is experimental?
I mean, it's kind of, you just kind of got to go for it and see what happens. It's kind of hard to gauge, like, trying new weird things and how people will react to it. But, I mean, we just kind of put ourselves out there and, you know,
Yeah.
hope for the best.
it's really just like whatever naturally flows with us. I know Luke and I, when we write the songs, we basically write most of it on guitar. Luke will write drums and arrange it a little more, but me and him, like, we take influence from like a lot of like electronic music and video game music. So I
Yeah.
think that really sets us apart from most like deathcore bands.
Any specific video games that you guys are inspired by? Please tell me you guys are Legend of Zelda fans.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Legend
yeah,
of
of
Zelda,
course.
but Donkey Kong Country
Yeah.
soundtrack for me. I know Luke's a big like Mega Man
Mega
guy.
Man and, yeah, Castlevania, stuff like that.
All the old school stuff, even
Yeah.
some new games.
Like
have.
the old 8-bit soundtrack kind of things, like Shovel Knight,
Yeah.
what The Messenger, Eric from Necro just did the music on that, and that's
Super sick.
amazing, yeah.
I just got, believe it or not, Castlevania Symphony of the Night for PlayStation
yeah.
1. Hardest game, but
dude,
so much fun.
It's absurd, yeah, it's absurd. And that's what they just added, the Castlevania character to the new Smash Bros too, which is a nice change
Simon
of pace.
Belmont, Alucard?
Yeah,
Simon.
I think it's Simon. With
They got to get Alucard on
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it'll probably be a DLC or something.
Yeah.
But
Now, Joel, I know that you came back into Rings of Saturn like this year. So when you came back to Rings of Saturn after kind of, you know, taking a break from the band, did it feel kind of like a bit of a fresh start coming back, or is it just kind of like picking up where you left off back in 2014, I think?
I think it's a little of both. I think the big difference now is the band is in a much more serious state than when I left it. Like, we have Nuclear Blast, and we have the team that we have now. We have like a lot of things have definitely like improved. Like, starting out with any band, you know, it's very rough, and we were all very young, didn't really know. We're trying to find our place, or didn't really know what to do on tour, didn't really know, you know, where to fit yet. It takes time to really find that groove and that place, and I feel like jumping right in the band after the Rage Fest this summer at the Tilla, it was definitely like a phase of like, okay, I need to like kind of get back into this, but it naturally came pretty quickly again, and we all meshed really well this time. I think the chemistry between all of us now is much stronger than it was before. The communication's great.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's
flowing really, really
flowing
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the new album is a good representation of that.
For sure.
Awesome. It's going to be like a real signature moment in the history of Rings of Saturn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Ian, for you, what I was curious about is being a vocalist. Do you need to like hear music in order to come up with lyrics, or is there ever a time where maybe you have like a lyrical concept or an idea and that determines the outcome of the music?
So basically, I'll have like a concept in mind, and then I'll start like jotting down like ideas or like phrases and little lyrics here and there, and basically they write the music and then send it to me, and I'll like like edit my phrases or something depending on like what kind of feel I get for a certain part or this or that. Yeah, they write out the music. I just kind of crank out lyrics and then place them as we go along. But yeah, the music definitely does have an influence on like certain aspects of my lyrical writing. There's like certain parts will be like, like super alien-y sounding. Other ones will be like you're in a Mario castle running around or this or that. So yeah, it's a little bit of both, because yeah, I'll come up with certain things and then change them according to what the music kind of says to me, I guess.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, one question I was curious about is because, this is the third time seeing you guys this year. Last time I saw you was with Attila and Volume, Suicide Silence. But then I saw you on the previous tour with the Legion and Necrogoblicon, which I would say is a fairly different type of audience than what Rage Fest is.
Yeah.
Do you notice, like, maybe a different reaction to the crowd depending on, like, what bill you're on?
I feel like Rings kind of has, like, a certain little like niche that we're in. Like depending on whatever tour we're on, we'll have fans come out and just go crazy. But it's also good to like play for different demographics, like the Attila tour, and like kind of put ourselves out there for a new group of people. And I think a Rage Fest was great, so I think it definitely benefited us as far as getting a new kind of fan base out there.
Broaden the spectrum.
Yeah.
I think with this tour, it's kind of easy for us to fit in, because like we got Veil and Nathan, like Faceless and Interloper, and it's like all of us. Oh, and Last 10 obviously, like we're all like have heavy aspects and like technical metal aspects, so it's like all the fans can come to this tour and easily like everything. With Rage Fest, it's like, oh, we're coming here to see, like, some people would be there to see Attila and like familiar names, and they haven't heard of Rings, and they see us, it's like, oh, okay, now I like this band. They have like aspects of this.
Yeah.
They stand out,
Yeah. Well, one festival that you guys were on, I don't think you were back in the band yet, but it was you were either on Ozfest or Knotfest.
Oh yeah, Ozfest last year. Yeah.
And you were also on a Summer Slaughter with Black Dahlia Murder. So I've noticed that, like, in all aspects of what heavy music is, it seems like your name could kind of fit on any type of bill.
Touching base on a lot of different like genres and everything. We try to keep a good spread of stuff that people can enjoy within our music, instead of just when we first started it was just pure chaos the entire time, and like we're kind of bringing in a lot more flow and a lot more groove to appeal to a wider aspect or array of people.
More memorable songs, not just millions of notes going by and blast beats and insanity.
Yeah. You kind of like. So from what you're telling me, it looks like that the new music, from what you've been telling me, you guys are a little more structured and maybe, for lack of better words, a little more disciplined.
Yeah, it's definitely a more mature sound for sure. Like the longer that we play together and write together, we kind of and just get older and more mature as people. We kind of try to transition that into our writing styles.
Yeah. And like playing live too, that's a big thing. Like we started out, we just wrote whatever is the most challenging for like us as musicians to play, and then when you start playing it live, you start really finding out what translates well, what doesn't. The more and more you tour, and then you like when you're sitting there writing, you like think, okay, like this will work in the recording, this will work live. You really get a better perspective of how to approach the music once you've been on the road doing it.
Yeah, there are a lot of parts that definitely transcend a lot better live than it does on the album, and vice versa. So yeah, keeping that in mind, we try to not only like writing crazy music, but we also try to keep, in mind how it will sound performing it live as well.
Definitely, and you just led me into my next question, actually, because when you're playing this in the studio or the practice space, when I saw you guys live on those other 3 occasions, like, there was lights going on everywhere. People were actually flying, like, over the barrier and everything like that. So it's fair to say that when you're playing this live, it's a completely different ball game than when you're just in a practice space or in the studio,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're sitting down in a computer chair and you're sitting there writing or recording, there's no pressure on you. You can mess up as many times as you want. There's no one sitting there filming you with a video camera or talking about you online or anything. It's just you're there. But yeah, being in a live environment, like, cable could break, something could happen with anything. Like, someone could fall on stage and like run into your guitar and break. There's a lot of variables that come into play. So yeah, it's different ball game for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that you have like a new perspective on that song after you play it live in front of an audience versus when you're in the studio and you're like, oh wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And the final question I'd like to ask you is, how do you know when a song is done?
Ooh.
Really, how the process goes, at least for this newest record, I basically write out like full songs from my end, and then I'll send them to Luke. Luke is kind of like the guy who puts all the pieces together to make it sound like Rings. So he'll take whatever I send him. He'll just, like, I made these small tweaks, a small arrangement, differences in the arrangement that he makes, and then after that point he puts the drums and everything to it, sends it back. What do you guys think? Cool. We all approve it, and then Ian writes vocals for it, and then we just hit the studio and go from there.
Piece it all together.
Yeah, because I noticed with your music, it's not your typical song structure where it's just verse, chorus, chorus. It's like
there's some secret formula, like Krabby Patty formula.
I don't really know how to explain it. I think it took a while for us to find, like, I don't know. After each album, once we do something new, it's like that becomes, like ingredients in the recipe in a way. So each album, I feel like it almost makes it a little easier with each release.
Kind of
it's
like pick parts from certain albums here and there.
Yeah, we take influence from our past and from other music to add to our new music.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. I've always said, like, if Jackson Pollock made an album, it would sound like you guys.
I could see it. Yeah.
So before we go, I want to thank you guys so much for your time.
Of course,
you said the new music could be coming out in 2019. Is there just anything else that you would like to promote for Rings of Saturn?
Just kind of keeping everything else under wraps right now.
Yep.
Yeah, there's some new shit coming, and it's gonna be dope.
If you see a tour announcement, if it's come near you, come on out.
Come the fuck out.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Everybody, Ian and Joel of Rings of Saturn, pick up Alta Ula if you haven't already. New music coming in 2019. We'll see you next time.
Peace.